You're welcome back to the Gavel. Now, a question on the lips of many Nigerians during the week was, where is the ministerial list? President Buhari had promised that he would name members of his cabinet in September. So as the week that just ended was the last week in September, Nigerians were eager to know those who would be appointed as ministers. Now, the Constitution requires the president to send the names of the ministerial nominees to the Senate for screening and confirmation. So all eyes were on the presidency and the National Assembly to see if the president would send the names of the ministerial nominees to the National Assembly for screening and confirmation. If there was one thing which many Nigerians eagerly awaited during the week, was the big reveal of the ministerial list. President Buhari had promised to reveal the names of ministers to be appointed to form part of his cabinet in September. So it was no wonder that during the week, which was the last week in September, many Nigerians eagerly awaited the announcement of the ministers to be appointed by President Buhari. The waiting game began on Tuesday when the National Assembly resumed. The Senate President, in his welcome address, said the Senate would immediately screen the ministers as soon as it gets the ministerial list.
Distinguished colleagues, as we await the list of ministerial nominees this week, I believe the presence of ministers will create a space for greater policy engagement with the executive arm of government and enable us to begin to respond in a more systematic manner to the various economic and social challenges before us, especially through our committees that also will be constituted very, very soon. On this note, I want to urge all my colleagues to ensure that what is uppermost in our minds as we begin the constitutional task of screening of ministerial nominees is the overall interest of our country, informed by enormity and urgency of the challenges before us. Once the list is submitted, let us ensure that we treat it with the dispatch and thoroughness. We must not be held down by unnecessary politicking. The enormity of our national challenges at this time does not give room for pettiness or politics or vendetta.
But by the end of Tuesday, the Senate spokesman told journalists that the upper chamber was yet to set eyes on the ministerial list.
We are also eagerly waiting for the ministerial list from Mr. President. I want to assure Nigerians that as soon as we get this ministerial list, we will start working on them expeditiously but diligently. We want to assure Nigerians that in our screening of the ministers, it will not be business as usual. The era, days and years of take a bow and go are over.
The wait for the ministerial list continued to the next day at plenary. But alas, it appeared that the presidency had still not sent the ministerial list to the National Assembly.
We are still waiting for the list. Talking about the ministerial list from Mr. President. And I want to advise that there's no need for agitation. That September expires by 12 midnight today. And I want to assure Nigerians that as soon as we get possession of this list, we will communicate same to Nigerians through the press corps of the National Assembly and specifically the Senate. And I want to assure Nigerians again that we will attend to the ministerial list expeditiously.
Reports began flooding the social media that the president was not going to meet the September deadline for submitting the ministerial list. But in the nick of time, the Senate President, via his Twitter handle, disclosed that the much-anticipated ministerial list had finally been sent to him.
I can authoritatively tell you that the list is in the custody of the Senate and with the Senate President in particular. The President of the Senate can only read those lists or the letter and content of the communication from Mr. President on the floor of the Senate. It cannot be discussed or revealed, or it content exposed before Tuesday. And I assure Nigerians that nothing will be shrouded in secrecy. The screening will be done in the open, and it will be conducted with the fear of God and transparency.
However, although the Senate President has received the ministerial list from the presidency, he did not reveal to the media the contents of the list. In a press statement from the office of a Senate President, he said the ministerial list would be announced on Tuesday, 6th October at plenary. Now, this is where we draw the curtains of this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us, and see you again next week.